So this is just a mandatory fold. But I have a feeling because it came up, you go ahead and looked him up. And he showed you ace-king. Way ahead here. Hits his flush. Takes your money. So you kind of got in there early with bad hand. And a uber nit shoved into you. It was absolutely time to fold. So just, watch those stats. I know you're using a HUD, so pay attention to it. A HUD read there would have saved you some money. Alright, sixes in the blinds, got a raise. Now, usually set mining out of the blinds is not something you want to be doing. Nevertheless, that's weird. When there's multiple people into the pot, it's fine. However, it's like A, B, and C here. The under the gun guy has got a deep stack, and that's fine. Now, if the other guy had any sort of stack, I'd be cool with flatting here and trying to hit a set. As it is, he doesn't, and so basically you're set mining out of position against one guy, which I'm not hot on at all. So you flat, and you hit your set, of course. So, that'll help when you do that. And you go ahead and check. You get a C-bet. He gets a shove. And you go ahead and call, which I actually kind of like here because a lot of the times this guy who has shown a lot of strength is just going to jam over the top of you, which is exactly what you want, thinking you weren't paying attention and just flat called. But he flat calls. So at this point, okay, you've got your boat and you really want to get it in. So you go ahead and check, you bet, or he bets, and you're going to raise, which you min raise, which you don't like at all. And then he min raises you back, and this has just gotten ridiculous. So he goes ahead, call, blah, blah, blah. And they both show trips with no shot of... I guess they do have some outs here, but they don't hit any of them, and you take down a very, very nice pot. Alright, aces early. Make a raise, that's fine. And you're way out of position here, unfortunately. And you go ahead and C-bet it strong. I'm guessing you figured... the wetter the flop, the more you got to C-bet. The drier the flop, the less you have to C-bet. This isn't necessarily a wet flop, but you get min-raised here. So the read here is that this guy's a 55-0. And so he could be playing any two cards. He could have 4-3 conceivably, or even 8-3 or 8-4. He could have a set. He could just be on a draw. He really could have anything. He looks super passive with his aggression factor, but we only have 65 hands, so we really can't make any assumptions here. You've got aces. Chances are you're ahead, or you might be flipping. So I think you just go ahead and get it in against this guy, considering his stack. You go ahead and flat, which I really don't like here. The 8 comes off, so if he's got an 8, if he had that top pair, he's ahead of you. You don't really know, but he goes ahead and shoves, and I guess you're calling anyway. And so I guess you were figuring you were trapping him by calling, but I have a feeling he might have been trapping you, or you guys were just flipping at that point anyways, and it was just good to get the money in. So you go ahead and call. He shows 25. Yeah, if we go back now that we know his cards... you were. Ha! So I knew that situation sometimes. I get one right. So, chances are he's going to hit his river. So he had a big draw. Any ace, 6, or spade gave him his hand and beat you. So it's unfortunate, but, that was a very standard hand, actually, at any stakes. All right, kings. Good raise. And a couple flatters, and just kind of the same situation before with the aces. Checked. Good C-bet. Guy min raises. Maybe this is standard at your stakes, but again, you've got full stacks now, but this gets a little bit more difficult because you don't have a spade this time. So you go ahead and call. You hit your set, but the flush fills. But I don't think you're slowing down. So you check, and he shoves. So this, you had to have thought, like, wow, this sucks. If he has a set, you're not... Well, if he has a flush, your set is basically drawing to 10 outs. So, I mean, the odds aren't even close. But if you think he might be bluffing, then you've got to make a sick read. And he is a pretty aggressive post-flop player, although he's pretty much a super nit pre-flop. Go ahead and make the call. Bit of a hero call, but I don't mind it. And he shows you tens with the draw. So, good read, good play. He hits his his set, but it doesn't matter because he already hit one. And he took down a pot, so good job. Ace-king suited, late position once again. We're seeing good, consistent raises pre-flop, so good job there. 7-7-3. Boards like this typically aren't too good to c-bet. I mean, you could say anything at any point, I swear, in poker. But the thing is, with a player like this, he's never going away. But at the same time, you're probably winning, and you could bet, for equity here. But let's just see. So you go ahead and c-bet, and you fully expect him never to fold something like this. So he goes ahead and raises, and this is kind of the case of, well, what do you do? This is what a terrible position to be in. You've got all rags, the board's paired, so you've got basically 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw. So he looks, 37-32 infinity, only 19 hands. I don't know if you can just shove in here. If you call, he's shoving. So to me, this is a fold. I really wish you'd check this, but you go ahead and call, and maybe you didn't spot his stack at this point, because if you had, I think you would have realized no matter what, he's getting it in on the next card. The jack comes, which actually is a fortunate card for you. It actually gives you some outs. But if he, has a boat, some of those outs are all the outs are no good. He goes ahead and shoves, predictably, and you go ahead and call with 2 overs and the flush draw. So hopefully you have 15 outs, which only makes you a 70-30 dog. So I'm not quite sure what the thinking was. He shows nines, and you break off. So watch that flop. I don't think it was a good c-betting flop, and definitely had to pay attention to his stack size after he made that raise, because he was going to get it in. So watch for that situation, and next time be careful with a big hand like ace-king. Once again, jack's in the small blind. You go ahead and flat this guy, which I like a lot because he's a 6-2. So we remember the 2% range is jacks and higher, meaning you've got the bottom of his range, so we know he's got queens, kings, or aces. Like, if we're going with our read. Like, maybe he's being crazy with tens, or really being loose with ace-king, but basically we know what he has. So hopefully, you can hit a set and take him down, because he's never going to fold aces, kings, or queens. So the flop comes all sixes, and you flop the boat, but the bad news is you're still losing. You check, he bets. It's real tough to fold this, but I'm going with my read here. You go ahead and you don't let it go, figuring, well, I flopped the boat and I'm way ahead ace-king. And then I think you just hit a 2-outer. I really do. He checks, gets you in, you're calling. He shows queens. That HUD doesn't lie. And you hit a very fortunate turn for a very, very nice pot. So nice job. We've got time for one more hand. Ace check on the button, flat behind against that guy. That's all right. You flop top pair, top kicker. He bets a buck. I think you're raising this because of the draws. Good job there. And he flats, so that's kind of interesting. The 7 comes. He checks. You bet there. That's a pretty good amount. I might have just made it $5, but 556 is fine. And he calls. He's not going anywhere. And then the 2 hits, so I'm smelling a rat. This is a check. Good job. And he showed queens. So unfortunate flop for you, but overall, good play. I really like what you're doing here. And keep it up. This has been Sean for TightPoker.com.